Hi guys, in this video I want to be introducing what Pairwise is and how you can use Pairwise to learn to code. So Pairwise is a platform that I have developed which is designed to be a very efficient and effective way for someone to learn basic programming skills from scratch, whether they have some rudimentary experience already with programming or whether they have no experience at all. Pairwise is a platform that someone can use to learn how to program and eventually actually get hired as a software developer. So let me just pull open this side menu here, and this reveals the full curriculum that we have here in Pairwise. And the main course that we have is called Full Stack TypeScript. So the idea of this is to teach you the TypeScript programming language and then teach you a series of different skills and technologies which allow you to build full stack web and mobile applications. So that would be things like front-end applications like what you're looking at here with Pairwise, back-end server applications that have to deal with storing and saving data in a database, and even mobile applications, which you can see here. And so this curriculum walks through all of these fundamental pieces that you would need to use and learn about in order to build these types of applications. And the idea is that as you walk through these challenges, you will build up a series of different projects which showcase your skills and eventually that you can use to present to future employers and finally get hired in the industry and work as a software developer. So the way the curriculum works is it's broken down at a high level into these different modules. And then each of the modules has a series of challenges. And the individual modules are also broken into different sections. So these sections are all collapsed, and I can open them up like that, and you can see the sections themselves have a bunch of different challenges within them. And so if we want to jump to a specific challenge, we can just click on one of them, and this is going to open up the Pairwise workspace. So this is the main view of Pairwise, and the idea here is that you have a challenge where you have a code editor and you have to actually write some code to solve the challenge. And once you've written the code, you can run the code and you can see if it passes or fails the tests. Once it passes the tests, you can move on to solve the next challenge. And the curriculum is composed of dozens and hundreds of challenges like these. And the main idea is that all of the challenges should be pretty easy to solve on an individual basis. But as you go through and you solve dozens and hundreds of these, you start to build up some very substantial skills and understanding of the language. And the reason why Pairwise takes this approach is because there's a bunch of different ways to learn to program. But fundamentally, if you want to go from not really knowing very much to being able to write full professional production-ready applications, you have to write a lot of code. It's kind of like learning a new language. You can learn a lot in terms of memorizing vocabulary and getting practice listening and so on and so forth. But unless you actually use the language a lot in real life, in terms of actually speaking and expressing yourself in that language, you're never going to really get to the point of fluency. And so it's basically the same with programming. You have to spend a lot of time actually writing code, doing hands-on work with a programming language before you actually get to a point of competency with the language. And so that's really the core idea of Pairwise. It's to break the learning process down into a lot of small challenges like this one here, which give you actual practice writing programs and solving challenges. So just to demonstrate, let's go ahead and solve this challenge, declare a variable. So the first thing to start with is the instructions here, which should be pretty short and to the point. So they say this challenge is pretty simple, but it's very important. Your first variable. So in the editor below, declare a variable name first. Do not assign a value to it. Look back at the previous lesson if you get stuck. So again, we are jumping into the middle of the curriculum here, and there's a bunch of other lessons that came before it, which should provide more context. But I think we can still solve this one now. So let's go ahead and declare a variable called first. And you can see the hint here for this challenge, you need to use the keyword let. So let's say let first like that. And now I can run the code and we'll see this time the first test here passes, but the other two have still failed. In fact, we can actually click on this little red circle to show our error for that specific test. And so the second test says second is not defined. So let's go ahead and say let second and run the code again. And now the second test passes, but the third test fails. So now it says third is not defined. So we can, of course, as you would expect, write let third. And then after running the test, we will see that we passed the challenge. So now we can proceed to the next challenge, or we can stay here and we can scroll down and we can watch a video explanation of how to solve this challenge. And so generally the approach that I would recommend taking with Pairwise is start working through the curriculum, try to work through the curriculum in order, because the curriculum is organized in a way that the later challenges try to build up on concepts introduced in the earlier challenges, and try to solve each challenge on its own before you scroll down and take a look at the video. The video is there for two reasons. One is to give you additional context and be kind of like a guide to a lot of the important takeaways from each challenge. And then two, if you really do get stuck on a challenge, the video is there as kind of a lifeboat. Because when you're learning to program, you will get stuck a lot. You will run into a lot of things that are very confusing, very hard to understand, and you will be totally lost. And at those times, it's really hard to maintain your motivation. And it's really hard to also figure out how to solve whatever it is that you're stuck on. And so those moments are very challenging, and they can burn a lot of time and energy, and they can be really demotivating. So with Pairwise, the idea is to really minimize, or actually to just completely eliminate those kind of experiences with learning to code. And so if you ever feel like you're completely lost or stuck on one of the challenges, just take a break, take a deep breath, and then just scroll down, watch the video explanation, see how to solve it, and then scroll back up and try to implement the solution yourself. And with that, you should be able to avoid these really difficult scenarios where you just have no idea how to solve something. But again, I would recommend trying to solve it yourself the first time. And then if you really do get stuck, go ahead and watch the video. Also, if you happen to solve the challenge with no problem, if it's like super easy for you, I would still recommend considering watching the videos, because we try to explain additional information or other helpful lessons in the videos that may not be apparent if you just solve the challenge. In any case, once you're ready to move on, you can essentially just proceed to the next challenge and then keep moving forward like that. And as you can see, we do keep track of the challenges that you have solved in the curriculum and the other challenges that are not solved yet. And then back on the home page, you can see an overview of your challenge progress. And also, you'll notice that I can log in or sign up here. So I'm actually not logged in right now. So you don't have to create an account or anything to use Pairwise. The idea is to make it as easy and accessible to get started as possible. So you can just visit the website and start working through the curriculum right now, and it will track your progress, but it will only be on that local browser tab. So if you want to actually have an account, which would keep your progress preserved more permanently, you can go ahead and easily log in or sign up. And then we have these convenient options to use standard social media accounts, or even just sign in with your email address. And then that will link your challenge progress directly to the account that you have created. Now, the last thing to mention here is that these first three modules, the short intro module, and then the HTML and CSS module, and the TypeScript module, are all completely free and open for anyone to use. And these really give you the basic foundation in web programming, namely TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript, the language of the web, and then also HTML and CSS, which are the building blocks of web pages. So again, these challenges are completely free and open for anyone to use and learn with. The rest of the curriculum, which is really the core skills and technologies that are required to build modern production level applications, whether it's on the website or the mobile side, this is the actual paid course for Pairwise. And so for this, if you wanted to access these challenges, you would have to actually first create an account, and then you can purchase the course, which right now costs about $50. And then you would have lifetime access to all of these other challenges and modules. So that's about it, and I think now I'm going to wrap up this video. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how Pairwise works, and really the core idea here is to make it easy and fun for people to learn how to program, with the end goal of actually getting hired and working in the industry. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more content like this in the future. And of course, if you are interested in learning to program, head over to Pairwise and try out some of the challenges and see how you like it. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.